And now, unmuted. Moot. Gathering of Saxons. Moot. Ah! Gathering of Saxon swans. Okay, let's just check 1, 2. Yeah, is it working? I don't know. I don't know. I'll wait for someone in chat so you can hear it. Is that all right? Hey, it's non-stop professionalism here, isn't it? Wait, something. Yes. Have I? Don't know. I feel like I genuinely can't remember how to do it. Oh. Now, unmuted. Okay. Gathering of Saxons. So I'd say we've caught up with ourselves. Hello, good evening, welcome to a midweek Compline, because nobody expects the Wednesday Compline. That's working good, thank you. Hi, Kate. So very, very special. I tried to do this a couple of weeks ago just to work, health stuff, life. Didn't get to it, but just very, very excited tonight to be sharing a conversation with Simon Bibby, who is the solo artist behind Thy Listless Heart, to share some of his music, past and present, and yeah, just to enjoy that. And so apologies, it's taken a while. The album was out on the 18th of November. I believe CDs are still available, maybe possibly black vinyl. Throughout the interview, you'll see the link to Simon's website where you can get your hands on that. Metal, I know that's my website, metalmethodist.co.uk, because you're here. Hello, good evening. Hello on Twitter as well, and YouTube. Yeah, and also a chance this evening for you to get a copy of the album, The Path of Pilgrims on the Path of No Return, to get that on black vinyl or on CD. So 2 chances to get your hands on something this evening. So Kate's here, Nigel's here, others are here. This is cool. Good to be with you again. Sorry, it's been a while since we did the in-person Compline. Good to chat about that and review that as well. So in the meantime, let's do our thing, shall we? So I'm creating videos for something else and I keep pressing the wrong button. There we are. Okay, so hello, good evening and welcome. So the Methodist Church at the moment is doing this thing about Joyce. Hello, Joyce. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Yay, good to see you. So opportunities tonight, YouTube, Twitter, here at metalmethodist.co.uk. Obviously, you can chat as well on Twitter and YouTube and metalmethodist.co.uk. I recognise that the chat function at metalmethodist.co.uk feels a bit clunky, and so if watching via another means suits you better, that's fine. I do sometimes have to go back and re-edit the videos after the live stream for copyright reasons, whereas the licenses we have, thank you to Patreons, covers on here. That was the preemptive notices there. Yeah, so it'd be good to hear about those who are either at in person or at online. The in-person online hybrid Compline with James Carver, El Presidente, Youth Presidente of the Methodist Church. And the Methodist Church at the moment is running a campaign called There Is Room. There, in the second week of Advent, which is where we are now, we're coming up and looking at the theme of There We Will Be From Sunday, There Is Room for Difference. And there is room, blisters and others, for metalheads, for goths, for anyone who likes it loud and challenging and real and just enjoys being and dressing how you want to be and dress, with whatever amount of ink, metal, dye, whatever, or not you choose. So there is room for us. And that is the message of Christmas, Emmanuel, God, divine, the other, the thing that is beyond us, that force at the heart of humanity, that is love, the best of us. That is the meaning for me of Christmas. That there is room. If you're homeless and living in an animal trough, if you are a parent who is expecting and perhaps the timing could have been better. If you are, a salt of the earth, working class person in a field, whether you are a super well educated person from like Syria, trekking over using your scientific methods to find this news about this person who's been born. The message is you're part of the story. There is room for you, for me, for difference, for metalheads, for us all. Yes. So I shall now shut up. I was only showing that to say the point is there is room and we're all welcome.
You're welcome here if you're she, he, we or they. You are welcome here if you're gay, straight, working it out. You are welcome here if you're in a relationship, single, divorced or widow. You're welcome here if you're inked, pierced, both or neither. You're welcome here if you're young or young at heart. You're welcome here if you just got out of bed or out of prison. You are welcome here if you're more Christian than Striper or never quite got the whole God thing yet. You're welcome here if you're living on a prayer or could use a prayer right now. You're welcome here if you've got it all sorted or if you've got doubts. You are welcome here.
How's your granddaughter doing, Joyce? Yeah. Let's gather. Oh, wonderful, wonderful people. All right, Michelle. Yeah.
As moon rises, the sun slips sight. Begins the ritual of this night, for those convinced their path is right. Gathered from north, south, east and west, yet called at another's behest, those treading the path that is left. From near and far come as you are to this place and embrace this space as darker hue embraces you.
Good evening, Hugh.
Spirit, earth and fire, confessing the sins of empire, we come with our wounds and desire. Sensing that we are not alone, drawn to the flame that guides us home, for here you, me and yet to be. Importance and signs of these times, for the sake of all those maligned, is yet the home of the divine.
Oh, thanks for the update, Joyce. Just total love to you and to her and to the rest of the family. And thank you for just being in whatever it is with her, and and fair play to her for engaging with that kind of talking therapy, and and those who are providing it, and just total good wishes and prayers and much love, and that it's going to be positive. So how have we been? Recognize, as Joyce has shared, there's some tough stuff going around. There's been some tough events for people this week, in terms of, I guess, rites of passage. But I hope within that there have been moments of beauty, moments of hope, moments of joy, moments of peace, moments of solidarity, of being held, of holding. I'd love to hear what you are thankful for this day as we share what we are thankful for. So thankful that we can't just say thank you, we have to say it in Norse. Well, hail the Vikings, Kate. And thank you as you are about to share what this day has made you say. Well, we say it in Norse because it is more Viking, therefore more metal, right? Ka-ching. As we share what this day has made us say, Tusen takk! So, thank you. Sorry, I'm cutting and pasting. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Cut and paste. Da 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 da. Cut and paste. Tusen takk from Michelle. Thankful for the NHS and being listened to. A good appointment for Michelle on Monday, and for your daughter today. That's really good. That's really good. So thank you, NHS. Thank you, amazing people in the NHS, and thank you to those who are continuing to work to improve processes, recognizing all the issues around funding and all the pressure on public finances at the moment. Tusen takk for that being positive for you. I don't know. I don't know if other families have had this, but we've kind of been a bit in terms of flu, pneumonias, sickness, bugs, ear infections, pleurisy, and there's two of us, including me, that are a bit Mutt and Jeff in the ear. I looked up today, perforated eardrum. Okay, yes. Excuse me, yes. Baking powder. So I think I'm going to go to the doctor. So I hope that I'll have a similar experience to Michelle, that I might have trouble listening. That's the only problem. But yes, so thank you for those who could help when I don't know. What happens if it can't go to 11 anymore? I'll have to listen to Kenny G. Never. So anything else? Angela, amen. Choose and tack for family. And may the souls of the faithful rest in peace and rise in glory. And until we see saints in heaven, may the saints on earth continue to uphold us. And we you, Angela. Bless you. Nigel. Oh, right. Nigel. Oh, your mum's coming back from hospital with chest pain. Oh, man. Dude, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, so she's coming home. So that's positive. And yeah, I hope that you get to hear what that might be about. Just pray whatever it is manageable. And just yeah, peace and rest and strength and wholeness for both of you. And yeah, more choose and tax at the NHS then. And Kate, a choose and tag for a very interesting work project that you were told about today, and for being shortlisted for a right listing thing for a BBC podcast. Ooh, wonderful. I do like my BBC podcasts. I am an avid listener to BBC Sounds. Yeah. Oh, yes. We look forward to an update. That's wonderful. So thank you for sharing that good news. I guess the other bit of choose and tack I would want to offer is for those who came, saw and conquered Weni Wini Wiki, those who came in person, who joined online, who were in the chat, who were making the chat possible. Thank you, Kate. Who are making the stream possible. Thank you, Dave Burton. Hello, Dave. Who travelled from far, like the wise men, Mark Zachariah, Nigel Harding, from those who came from the other side of Sheffield, from those who came from Doncaster, on a whim, going, what is this? Just what an amazing experience, a sense of, I'm sorry about the noise. I can assure you no children are being harmed in the making of this broadcast. Yeah, just that chance to be together, to do what we do in person, online, for Kate to run up and share some of Joyce's posts in the chat where we were praying, and to lay some of those down on Joyce's behalf. Oh man, it was great, and to spend the day with James Carver, the youth president, and his mission to find examples of ways in which church doesn't have to be as boring as some people experience it. Again, there is room for all of us, and all the ways that we learn and use our senses, all our different abilities, all the challenges we might face in terms of how we access and process information differently to each other, but a space where we can make room for each other, and just people saying, yeah, I know who I need to bring next time, and there will be a next time, in the words of Def Leppard. So thinking February for doing it again in person, maybe tying in with I don't know why I said tying in with anything. It's too late for Epiphany. That was almost a revelation, but then it wasn't. So it was not an epiphany. It was an anti-epiphany, which is where she gets like the white bits off of the satsuma stuck in her teeth. Epiphany. I have some pith in me. Yeah, so just totally bowled over, and it's mad. And then going home, having daughter and her friends there volunteering as part of it for D&E, and dropping them back, and my tire blowing, meeting a very nice man from the AA in like 1 in the morning in a McDonald's car park, and who then stayed longer than he needed to help somebody else who'd randomly broken down. You just think, yeah, there's little signs of hope. There's little signs of paying it forward, whatever we believe and don't believe, just giving a toss about each other. It's good. It's encouraging. So thank you for being part of that. Recognizing too that there might have been some wait on. It was great to be in one place. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, another choose and tack from Angela. Your son having a good German speaking mock today. Wunderbar. That is literally the extent of my German. Apart from the bit that Rick Allen does at the beginning of Rock of Ages. The Drumfield Dynamo. Good for him. Nice one. That's really good. I love the sound of German. Oh, yeah. Fair play to him, because my school did Russian and French. I don't know whether we're a sort of Cold War sleeper cell. I don't know. But I wish I'd done German. That's totally cool. Good on him. Nice one. And for you for being there and supporting and enabling and encouraging. And I reckon too, with things that have happened this week, perhaps some of us have been to funerals for those very close to us. Some of us have had encounters with hospitals. Some of us are waiting for news following health issues. Да, Kate, да. Здравствуйте. Меня зовут Джеймс. 1, 2, 3. I can't remember now. That's about it. Anyway, so if there's stuff we need to lay down, just for some peace tonight, or just to God, I know it's bonkers, but like, I guess for me, I'm laying down the fact that my car failed its MOT. It's been away overnight to try and get it through its MOT so I can get it back, so I can then drive it around whilst trying to buy a new one. And just the impact of that, with kids and needing to be in different places, and then work, and then technically knowing I really need a 7-seater with 4 children, that's kind of perhaps coming not at a great time of year, or generally going, you're just thinking, which is not much to worry about, but at the same time, kind of, it just niggles, doesn't it? But in the scheme of things, I know it's nothing. So an exercise for me in trusting, I think. So I wonder what you are laying down. Concern for loved ones. Just hearing some of the stuff. I've been meaning to a webinar at the weekend with the Methodist Church on domestic violence and the hidden victims, or the people who are hidden who've experienced and survived domestic violence. For example, older people, elder abuse, the impact on children, how it manifests within a church setting, how it always includes spiritual abuse, how those in a public role within ministry, whether you wear a funny collar and outfit, or whether you clean the toilets or run the whatever youth group or put the books out or whatever, people see you, and it's difficult to if you need to speak out, because people might think, well, that person's lovely, they can't possibly do that, and just how hard that is. So I'm hearing today the experience of people who've lost daughters. Just laying down the violence within our society alongside all the other stuff in the world. And I'm sure you have things to lay down too. So let's do that now.
The principalities and will to power, the worms from within my own darkest hour. I confess all the regrets and the regrets, the burdens and fears, the lament and the tears. I lay them down.
And as we do, no matter how far away we feel from God, the divine, the other, love, or love feels from us, God in Christ comes running out to meet us and says, come to me. Or you who are weary and heavy laden, even if you don't like Iron Maiden, but why wouldn't you? And I will give you rest. Oh, them prices! Sorry, an in-person conversation at Compline about it costing 280 quid a ticket on sort of aftermarket. Ticketmaster. But just may you know peace in whatever you need it, and wherever you need it, and for whoever you need it, including yourself tonight. Thank you, Angela and Kate, for yes, there is lots to worry about, and sometimes it is practical financial stuff as well as all of the injustice as well, and it's sometimes holding all of that together, trying to keep those plates spinning. Those somebody talked about it being kind of like hobs or burners, rings on a burner, and you can't perhaps have them all going at the same time, because you're gonna miss something, and sometimes it can just feel. So we just give it to God this night, because it's a bit heavy and it's a bit much, and they are, Jesus, just hang on to that for me, with me. You know that too this evening. So Kate is laying down volunteers, or the lack of volunteers in some circumstances, and for A and the family who are still struggling. And the lingering lurgy to go away. Absolutely, when you just never quite feel you're firing on all cylinders. Yeah, but the need to fire on all cylinders is there. But and with Angela laying down the fact that she is so tired. And just that expression. Well, self-care, take care of yourself, be gentle with yourself. Absolutely, but also. Finding the time to do that, doing it when you feel well enough to actually benefit from it. I guess for some people, listening to what Kate's saying as well. Having others to lean on to enable you to do it is also a bit of a challenge and tiring. But I pray you do have rest, and that is an opportunity for you. I pray that you have that opportunity, Angela. So going to do things a bit different now, I think, because there is about half an hour's worth of audio here with Simon, and also it means we're not going to be serenaded by my children, as beautiful as it is. So I'd like to play you. We've heard songs Precipice, and we've heard the song. As the Light Fades, I think. 2 songs from the album that were released as singles before the album came out. I played those quite a bit. This is Do Me. This is Ambiente. This is shut up, James. I don't think you need to describe it. I think it just needs to speak for itself. I think Simon needs to speak for himself. Depending where we are on the breadth and diversity, because there's room for difference, of kind of Christian perspectives and theologies and spiritualities. We may not agree or be like, well, that's awesome in terms of what some of Simon shares, but Simon shares his own experience, and total respect to him for that and the vulnerability in doing that. So I invite us to respect that, and just to hear his story, and that he has laid all of that bare to the world in the new album from Thy Listless Heart, Pilgrims on the Path of No Return. So there'll be some retro tunes in there, and I'll end with what is my absolute favourite song on the album. I'm having this song at my funeral, the one at the end, and I may not be there for it, but yeah. I just let it play at the end, so it just shut up, James. Just play it. All right, okay. So here's a conversation I had in Simon's kind of room. He very kindly invited me to his house. He doesn't live too far away, and he was just absolutely honest. And so thank you for that, Simon. Thank you for your hospitality. He was then kind enough to meet me for a coffee to deliver me my copy of the album, and news about how you can get your copy, either order it or I have a black vinyl and a CD as well, and still a mug as well for Angela. If you want them, I'll put them in a warm box, shall I, Angela? Anyway, and so here is Mr. Simon Bibby, Thy Listless Heart. So I'm going to disappear, and the next voice you'll hear will be Simon. I suppose at the time. Sorry. I was about to say
So
I can hear the
so that
tunes,
was it.
but there's no images, and so we'll try that again, shall we? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Simon.
So I'm going to start it again. Right. I'll just go that way as usual. Honestly, this worked perfectly when I tested it this afternoon. Right. Okay. Here we go. Bye. Right. Here we go. Oh.
Okay, so I'm Simon Bibby. Newly arrived at 51 years old. I suppose my musical journey began at the age of 17. I met Ian Arkley, who was the founding member of a thrash band called Seventh Angel. I suppose Seventh Angel and Detritus were at the cusp of this kind of new white metal scene that was happening in the US, and I suppose Seventh Angel and Detritus were sort of not necessarily the first ones, but I suppose the first bands that would be considered more extreme, thrashy sort of stuff. So yeah, I met Ian at 17. I didn't actually play an instrument. I went to see him simply because he and others with him were kind of importing white metal records from the States, and I was interested in getting in on that, so I went down to see them with a view to buying some records, which were impossible to get from anywhere else. Went down, bought some records, chatting with Ian. Ian gave me the Seventh Angel demo, the first demo that they'd done. Said, do you play? I said no. He said, do you want to? I said, maybe. He said, do you fancy joining the Seventh Angel? Wow. So I said, well, yeah, you give it a go. And then he gave me a horrendous bass guitar, which was awful to play. And he said the first gig's in 6 weeks. So so that was it. That was my introduction to. Then a couple of weeks later, left home where I was living at the time in Wakefield, Yorkshire, and moved down to live in Ian's parents' house for quite a lengthy time. So I slept on a camp bed next to in Ian's room for probably over a year, I guess, and learnt music that way really. I mean, I had a guitar at that point, but I didn't know what I was doing. It's arguable that I still don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, that's how I learned. That was great. I mean, that was an incredible experience really. I mean, we were all kids on this massive sort of trip of getting a record deal and recording and having an album released, etc. coming up to the second album being released, they were pretty a little bit. Oh, there were issues. There were we were children, and all wasn't particularly well. I won't go into the details, but just before the release or before the recording of the second album, Lament for the Weary, I left the band. And I suppose in the meantime, directly after that, I tried to form something called Amaranth.
Yes.
Which came to nothing. I've got some random cassette tape demos around the place
Oh, really?
somewhere,
Wow.
but apart from that, nothing came of it.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of a long period of doing nothing really, and then I moved to this area where I met my wife, Christy, went to the church that she was at and met other people who were into music. I suppose in conjunction with that, Mark, who was in Detritus, married my sister.
Right.
So he's my brother-in-law,
Right.
and they moved to, they were living in Bristol,
Yeah.
but they moved up around here as well.
Yeah.
So we ended up forming Firefly.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yeah, I mean, it was relatively successful. I don't know. I mean, we always tried to push it as far as we could, and I suppose at the time we wanted to be signed, and we wanted to be able to do what we were doing full time. That never happened. It was probably a good thing that it never happened, really. In hindsight, so that gave us all sorts of opportunities. We did lots of gigs in Europe, and, as you say, Greenbelt and stuff like that, and recorded self sort of financed albums. So yeah, that was a great experience in many ways. We especially our time we spent time in Eastern Europe, sort of Poland especially, which was fantastic. And then that came to an end eventually. Just life, busy, responsibilities, etc., etc., etc. And it's difficult maintaining a band. It's hard work, That eventually came to an end, and again I didn't do any music for quite a long time.
Right.
In fact, I sold my guitars, I sold my amps, all my pedals, everything, and I had intended not to do any music ever again. But as happens with musicians, the bug kind of gnaws away at you. So then, and in the meantime, I re-established connection with Ian from Seventh Angel, and he was then in a band called My Silent Wake, and I said to Ian, I fancy doing a bit of music, and he said, well, why don't you join My Silent Wake? And I said, well, you've already got 2 guitarists. He said, well, how do you fancy playing keyboard? I said, well, okay, I'll buy a keyboard and see what happens. So yeah, I've been part of My Silent Wake now for a few years, and done a few albums with them, some one heavy album, another album that we're working on, and then a couple of sort of ambient, acoustic, strange albums that we've done, which has been more experimental and enjoyable, to be fair. But there's always been a part of me that I've wanted to do. I've always fancied the idea of having a go at doing a solo project. I've always felt I've had that in me. I've always liked doing sort of atmospheric, emotive music, and I've never felt that I'd really sort of exhausted that idea. So approaching 50, thinking, well, I don't know how. Well, obviously, I'm not at death's door, but you just start to think, I need to. If I'm going to do this, I need to do it sooner rather than later. And then COVID struck, and it allowed people a little bit more time, a little bit more headspace. So culmination of those couple of things, I thought, well, okay, let's have a go. So wrote the material, bought a Mac, attempted to record it myself. Ben, who was in Firefly, he agreed to do drums for me. Again, through deepest, darkest lockdown, so we only actually met twice on a very cold February day, sat outside for half an hour to discuss it. He recorded drums in his garage, and then before you know it, I'm done and approaching labels, and then and then I find myself here. I'm not really one for following the crowd, if I'm honest. In everything I've ever done, really, I try to be authentically me, and more so on this album than ever, really. Whereas to a degree, I suppose, especially with Firefly, I was trying to, you try to tick a few boxes in order to open certain doors. Really, that's the honest truth. Whereas this album, I wanted it to be as absolutely naked me, kind of, just me distilled into music as much as possible. I am a very honest person, and I do feel things very strongly. I suppose to give some context to, I suppose, that pain and anguish that. I mean, some of it is, I don't know, it's just who I am. But I do try to channel emotion into my voice. It's something that I consciously try to do. I've worked for the past 30 years, probably, working with people who would be considered the underbelly of society. The people that we don't talk about at parties, people who have very serious offending, who have caused great damage, but who are also greatly damaged themselves. So with that background, our everyday life is a day of trauma and pain and struggle. That is just that's just normal. That is my normal. And so and many people, I suppose, are sort of shielded from that. And then they, apart from the occasional documentary, they don't really have any contact with that world, whereas that is my world. It always has been. And I suppose that, and then put into the mix my then, I suppose going back, my then faith, the two sort of were you know, joined quite seamlessly. Now I find myself in a position a place where I no longer have that faith, but it doesn't stop me from being able to feel that empathy and you know, that kind of and so that emotion hasn't just disappeared. I haven't changed as a person. My ethics and beliefs about humanity and how people deserve a second chance, that hasn't changed just because I no longer believe. So it's just part and parcel of who I am. You know, it's my DNA, I suppose. And unfortunately, I suppose for me, my voice allows me to convey that in some way. I grew up in a, you know, I mean, we had no money. My dad was a pastor of churches. You know, I wasn't one of the cool kids at all. So that song was born out of my experience as a teenager growing up, feeling out of place, and you know, trying to find a place for me.
Please don't bully me, boys don't pick on me. I'm only trying to be cool. You meet me at the gate, my friend intimidate. I'm only trying to be cool. All the world's a stage, and in this scene we all contend what might have been. Quell the wrath of boys, your sticks and stones, playground rules, my broken bones. Pinned against the wall, alone in dinner halls, I'm only trying to be cool. I hear the classroom bell, wonder who I can tell. I'm only trying to be cool. If I could jump the queue, if I could run you through, would I be super cool? Break all the rules, and this four-eyed freak become nothing, and this four-eyed freak become nothing, and this four-eyed freak become nothing, just like you, just like you. Kill what I want to be. I'm only trying to be cool. And in the changing room, I pray to go home soon. I'm only trying to be cool. Wanting to be something in your eyes, your snotty nose, your kipper ties try to make you laugh. I am the I am the one that you're pulling down. All the world's a stage, and in this scene we all contend what might have been. Quell the wrath of boys, your sticks and stones, playground rules, my broken bones. If I could jump the queue, if I could run you through, would I be super cool? Break all the rules. And this four-eyed freak become nothing. And this four-eyed freak become nothing. And this four-eyed freak become nothing. Just like you. Just like you. Just like you. Just like you.
Despite the fact that I wallow in doom and misery in the music, I'm quite a hopeful and positive person. More so now than I used to be. That's age helps with that, I suppose, and context and hindsight and all those things. Even aside from Christianity, okay, so obviously I grew up in a Christian family. I was absolutely fervent. You know, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, I was, you know, I was somebody who was committed, really. And that did shape me as a person. But even now, where I no longer would consider myself a Christian, and I don't have that faith. If anything, it's probably not what people want to hear. But if anything, I felt more liberated by being able to make that decision for myself, and not have to do things because I should be doing them, but actually because, you know, it's the right thing to do, and you know, part of it is not just about being hopeful. Part of it is about, I think, coming back to the music as well. Probably sing the way I sing because it's almost like a collective scream into the void, you know, sort of to be heard for the small people, for the people who've been forgotten, to be heard, and if that can be heard through my voice, then that's. I guess there's some of that as well, and that goes back to. Probably that's always been the case. That's probably what's motivated me to do sometimes. You know, to be the voice of the little people, the forgotten people. You know? Hence the kind of work that I do, and blah blah blah, and it just comes out in the music, I suppose. Yeah, I've always felt strongly for the underdog. Always. I think like again in the songs. Lyrically, if you can be brutally honest, people will engage with that to some degree, and so much about music is lyrics are so often, I don't know, just fairly throwaway, or you know, but I can't write throwaway lyrics. They have to, even, you know, this album is if anything, it's about my walk away from faith. Really, there's an underlying theme there, definitely in many of the songs. But I think there's still sort of a power to them because they're so honest.
Yes.
I mean, it's not very rock and roll, is it? The first two songs that I've released off the album was one is about telling people. It's a doom album. One of them is telling people not to commit suicide, and the other one is about dementia. Another thing about the album, it was almost a bit of an Instagram experiment, if I'm honest.
Okay.
It was kind of okay. So I've done lots of music over the years, and often you've done it and nobody knows that you've done it.
Right.
Okay, so what I thought, if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that as many people know about this as possible by self-promotion, like on Instagram, etc., etc. Linking into the metal community, making friends with people online. And I've met a number of people on Instagram over the last couple of years because I wanted sort of, it was almost like a way of and I'm just trying, it's like a record of what I was doing to produce this album, and in the process made friends with a bunch of people. So like the Precipice is Sergio from Chile.
Right.
We've never met each other. We've spoken online. I sent him the, so he just did the growls for me. Ella, who does the recorders and low whistles, and she plays Chilean pipe on another track. She's from Germany again. Met her online, and various other people. So it was kind of like it was a really interesting journey for me. Ian from Seventh Angel, My Silent Wake, he does some vocals on a track. Greg Chandler from a band called Esoteric, who's kind of like literally a godfather of doom. I mean, he is, Esoteric are famous as far as doomy stuff goes. He's the guy that mixed and mastered the album, so he did some vocals. So there's just various people, but I wanted it to, I would have had more people collaborating if I could have done, but it's just a lot of work. But it was kind of nice to have other people involved. The artwork was done by Mariusz Lewandowski, who, I mean, he actually really, he passed away in July of this year, but over the last few years had really built up a name for himself in the metal scene. I don't know whether you've seen any of his other artwork on other albums. No. So his most famous album cover, I guess, would be a band called Bellwitch from the States.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's his, and his artwork is incredible. I contacted when Hammerheart agreed to release the album. They said, it's epic. We need a great cover for it. Right. So I immediately looked at his work. And there's somebody called Adam Burke as well, who's done a lot of album covers. Whose art is fantastic as well. Adam Burke didn't have anything available at the time, and then I found Mariusz's, the artwork that we've used, which he did in 2016, I think, and originally called it Survivors. So I contacted him via email, and and I was able to arrange to license it. And then a couple of months later, he passed away very suddenly. I think he was about 62 years old. But as far as the artwork goes, I think it just perfectly sums up the feel of the album for me. It was just made for it. Really. I've been really fortunate. I didn't have an end game. I didn't have a plan. All I wanted to do is record the album. I honestly thought that I'd end up doing it and maybe releasing it digitally to a handful of people. I did it for me. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I did it for me. And when I was in the studio with Greg and he was mixing it, he's like, "What's your plan for it?" I was like, "I haven't got a plan." So he then sort of made a few recommendations, gave me a bit of help on putting the bio together, and contacted Hammerheart, and Hammerheart very quickly got back to me because I think Guido, the boss of Hammerheart, he's an old Seventh Angel fan, so he knew of me anyway. And it's as is often the case. Sure,
it's fine.
As is often the case, it's kind of who you know to some degree, isn't it? Well, it's strange, I think people, I don't. So I joke. So sorry, I'm keeping you. I joke about saying it's miserable, etc., etc. I actually don't see it that way at all myself. In fact, doom metal, generally speaking, makes me a lot happier than I would be under normal circumstances. Doom, anything that's going to push that button for me, it's releasing all sorts of good chemicals in my brain, most definitely. So, but I've had a few people who've suggested, like, how do you cope writing such bitter and mournful music? It's not bitter. I'm not a bitter person. I don't consider it to be particularly mournful. It's honest and sad and sorrowful. But there's still an element of, there's glimpses of light in the cracks, definitely. Not linked to faith particularly,
no.
or at all really. But I don't see it as being depressing or suicidal, which is a few people have said that to me. I'm like, I don't see that at all. But maybe it is. I don't know.
this journey done. I will leave you here. And here you are, gathered and departing. You'll journey on, travel well, my dear. And as the light dies on the horizon,
Thank you, Simon. Yeah, I hear you, Kate. Peter Gabriel. I don't know, just that cinematic and that cry of just from the depths of just babies when it's kind of like to die. Yeah, sitting on the floor, letting it all out type track. Oh, I just think, I don't know what it must be like to. I know it's going to be different for different people, but things like this for me, to have written just one track like that, to have had that within you, and yeah. Anyway, I don't quite know what to do now, so I'm going to suggest pray. So I'm going to just allow us to pray, remembering those who are grieving, which seems appropriate in response to that track, particularly at the moment, and the events that people have attended this week. Those who are grieving because of violence, those who are grieving because of opportunities they haven't had because of the way they have been treated and formed, and the struggle, the mourning and the struggle of every day, as Simon kind of talked about that, to be different, to choose a different path that isn't about violence and damage to yourself or others, just for the world, for creation. For the lament, and for me personally, I guess, don't want to read anything onto respecting, where Simon is in terms of faith, and he described this album being about describing his walk away from faith, and yeah, I guess for me personally, praying and offering the looking for the, and yet the lament, that the beauty in all of that, the tragedy in all of that, but yeah, the and yet for myself and others in the world, and whatever else we want to pray for. Let's do it.
To the one in whom all people and all creation have their being, may your kingdom come, your will be done, as above, so below. Sustain us for this day. Show us grace as we seek to show grace to those we feel have wronged us. Save us from the worst that is within us and within this world. For the kingdom, the power and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen.
Yeah, Angela, lament is an emotion that we need to talk about more. And maybe I need to have a chat with the legend that is Jane Bingham, who did a most excellent Bible study on Lamentations at a conference for Methodist superintendents. Right, I want to go write something doomy now. But and yet, I guess but that's also what Simon was saying, wasn't it? We might use different language for it depending on our faith or no faith perspectives, but still, yeah, the light what did he say? The light, the light between the cracks. Yeah, those bits, the beauty in the brokenness. And as Inderjit Bogle described it, just kind of just sitting with somebody in whatever it is, that lament, rather than go feel better, be happy right now, because I need you to. Ooh, sorry, microphone. So I'd obviously played some of Simon's previous musical outings before Thy Listless Heart. I got carried away and omitted to put some My Silent Wake, so we'll do that as we continue to pray and share whatever we're praying for, or just lamenting, or just naming out loud, whatever way, recognizing everyone's own spirituality and faith perspectives, or no faith perspective, just kind of an opportunity just to name those things, and kind of inspired by Simon, just kind of go, it's like this. Here I am. It is like this. So here is some equally cheerfully entitled something from My Silent Wake. This is There Was Death.
Got the love for 6-8. I love the 6-8. Oh.
My death, for will die. We
Root. More gatherings of Saxons and Saxon swans. Go well, Kate. And yes, have a look. And yes, look, until we meet again, lovely, amazing people. Again, trying to get some sort of rhythm, but it's just all bonkers with cars and lurgies and Christmases and enjoy the darkness of Advent. Hold on, what's that? That can go away. Yes, there we go. So look, until we meet again, it could be Saturday. Hopefully, try and get back into that, or Friday. Just if you get on Facebook or on Messenger, Metal Methodist, Facebook Metal Methodist, just let us know what trying to canvas what days are the best for this. I know people were struggling with Friday because of operations, and yeah, but good to know. And until that is, so I'll aim for this Saturday, unless I hear otherwise. Until then, blisters and others.
May the peace of the All-Parent be ours this night, and with all people and all creation, in the time that is to come.
Sway with me, Metal Compline. Sway with me, Metal Compline.